he didn't know that he's the $12 level. He didn't know that a shout out came with it. And I go, have you listened to the episodes, Victor?
Not.
I say your name. He's like, I just thought you were saying that because you're my friend.
Well, yeah, that's
that too, but still.
And welcome back to the Riley Black Project, Crystal and John.
Hey,
how's it going?
Oh, I need to look at a different camera now, potentially.
Potentially. Not today.
Not today. Keep looking at that one.
Yeah, this is a trial.
Okay.
So we have 2 new cameras. So we have single shots on one another here. It's beta testing for this episode,
right?
Because if you were with us when we first started the studio,
we had some trouble.
We had the same camera placements, and they shut down after like 10 minutes,
right?
So
and then didn't sync up in editing,
right?
And it was the whole thing,
right? It was a whole deal, and then these though are higher quality,
yes,
and they specifically have endless recording,
yeah.
So
cool.
This might be my shot,
and this might be mine.
So if you see those separately, it means it worked.
All right.
If you don't, we're still working.
All right. Let's get.
So what do we got for the month of November?
So our mentions. Oh, of course, it reset on me. So now I have to do it from brain.
Okay, here we go.
So this week's episode is sponsored by our friend Katie with Monarch Pine.
Yep.
And so she's giving 10% to all listeners with the code Riley Black. And her Etsy is monarchpine.etsy.com. And just in case I got that wrong, I don't think I did. You can search by Monarch Pine on Etsy.
Sounded pretty good,
right? So that's our sponsor for the episode. And then let's go through our shout out. So I adjusted this a little bit.
Yes.
Just to make sure I'm shouting out who they want to. And if I know their company name, I'm including it with their name. And I also, if you're a patron and you do the $6 or higher level, I sent you a message. So answer that and let me know what you want me to shout out.
Right.
Because some people, they don't sell to the laser community, so that there's no real benefit in them like shouting out their company.
But there will be, because everyone's going to watch this podcast.
So here it comes. Okay.
Brought to you by Cough.
By Cough Drops. Oh.
No, that was your computer screen.
Okay.
Yeah, it went.
The screen went
her
black
computer went black, and she's like, "Wait, what? What went black?"
All right. Heather Lynn with Lobo Designs. Fucking finally,
your best friend,
right? My best friend. How long have we been doing this?
This is episode 135.
Just gotta thank you, Heather, for finally signing up. Liz with the Laser Outpost Facebook group. Make sure to join that if you haven't already. Superfan Brandy Mahoney. That's how she wanted to be called out. Victor with Excited Adam. Did you know he didn't know that he's the $12 level? He didn't know that a shout out came with it. And I go, have you listened to the episodes, Victor?
Not.
I say your name. He's like, I just thought you were saying that because you're my friend.
Well, yeah, that's
that too, but still. Katie with Monarch Pine, Melissa Hitchcock.
Hey, wait, those are two spots.
Hey, she paid for them. She can have as many spots as she wants. Lisa David with Creative Cut Supplies. Alex with Laser Everything. Stephanie L is all this says. I think it's long. Stephanie Long. Barbie Cherison, who we just had. We got a lot of amazing feedback on her episode. I was scared because it was long, but people enjoyed it.
And shout out to Alex from Laser Everything. He killed it.
Man,
that setup was
so much money on that setup. It
you know what I just noticed? What? I didn't turn on a light, but it's all right. We look fine.
We don't need it.
No, we don't need it. We look fine.
Madison, I'm not going to say your name. Madison B. Danny McManus. Emily with That Mom with a Laser. Amanda with Cerulean Tides, Mark with Big Blue Laser Designs, Kathy Ray, just the Kathy Ray.
Ray.
Yeah. Ryan with Sprouts Creations. See, we moved your sign front and center.
Fine.
And Will with Crazy Laser Dad. So
our first.
Yes. He loves to talk about being our first. So
and I love him talking about being our first.
So who do we have today?
So well, before that, if you didn't hear your name, shout it out. I mean, there's a simple fix to that. You could just join Patreon.
Sign up.
And so there is a free
sign up. We gotta talk
which
about that.
All you get is a 5-minute clip of the audio portion.
Yeah.
You see,
but you don't really get any of the perks.
No, you see everything that we've posted and everything, but you only get a 5-minute snippet of the show.
Yeah.
And a random, we don't even pick that 5 minutes. So
Right.
Patreon picks that 5 minutes.
Right.
But you get a 5-minute snippet. So if you want the entire show and access and all the access,
and all the perks.
you have to sign up for this. I would say prescription. This is your doctor would prescribe this show.
Right.
Honestly.
It'll make you happy.
But yeah,
maybe.
But you have to sign up for the subscription, $4 to get early access and view everything early. And then obviously if you want to be put on that list, $6 or more.
Yep. Good job.
So
now who we got?
Hold on, because I don't want to butcher that last name. But we have Lauren with Lauren Mollica Woodworking.
There you go.
How's it going? Did I get that last name right?
Yes, Mollica. It's Italian.
Nice.
We just went through a lot of names.
Right. So how did you get started? We talked obviously previously a little bit before, and I know that your laser isn't even here yet, but you have ordered one that's set to come around December sometime. But how did you get into, being creative? What was your first machine? That kind of stuff.
So before I get into that, it was funny. I was listening to one of your previous episodes. You were speaking a different language, basically.
Oh,
about lasers.
Yeah.
Because I really don't know anything. Like, for instance, this is rapid resizer, which is a way that I resize drawings. And then I have to tape them all together to put out on wood, right? And so I'm trying to avoid that all the time. So
right.
Laser is like, it's a brand new thing for me. I'm not really sure exactly how I'll use it yet because there's too many ideas already.
Right. It's dangerous because it's literally endless. So it almost makes it hard to focus.
Yes, it's a little daunting when I think about it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
My heater just turned off. Now I can hear again. I'm in my workshop, which is attached to my garage.
Nice.
So
welcome to the revolution in laser engraving. Introducing Lens Digital, the creators of the game-changing Pyburn rotary attachment. With the Pyburn 4.0, you can turn ordinary cups, tumblers, glasses, and more into extraordinary masterpieces.
Looking to engrave niche items or want the functionality of a chuck rotary? Look no further than the Pyburn Grip, Lens Digital's chuck-style rotary. With a range of different sized jaws, you can easily engrave a wide variety of items. All Lens Digital products are compatible with most CO2 and Galvo lasers and were designed specifically for the laser industry. All that paired with the best-in-class customer support, Lens Digital is your one-stop shop for all of your rotary needs.
Transform your laser engraving game with Lens Digital, where makers succeed. Unleash your creativity today.
And don't forget, we are proud Lens Digital affiliates as well. If you're shopping, code Riley Black will take $50 off any order of $600 or more.
Hey there, podcast listeners. How great would it feel if this was the year you finally got to escape your 9-to-5 to embrace your lifestyle of creativity and entrepreneurship?
Every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern, Eon Laser USA invites you to join the Freedom to Create webinar, where you'll learn how to make this a reality.
Join leading laser industry professional and brand ambassador Emily, aka That Mom with a Laser, and Eon Laser USA's sales manager Alicia as they dive into all things Eon.
Learn about the advantages of owning an Eon laser and get the scoop on Eon's rewards and partner benefits. Plus, get a glimpse at how everyday people who started out with zero experience paid off their lasers, scaled their businesses, and transformed their lifestyles.
So if you're ready for a lifestyle change, head over to eonlaser.us/whyus and sign up for the Freedom to Create webinar today.
Thanks for listening. Laser on.
This is a funny thing that I don't think everybody knows because I don't really always get the chance to share that much on my Instagram, but
right.
So in 7th grade, I took my first woodshop class.
Nice.
And I fell in love with the scroll saw because I loved to draw, but I never really felt like a fine artist. And I loved like using my hands to build stuff. And
right.
I had an aunt who was a carpenter who was my idol.
Yeah.
She used to build houses and she was just could do most things,
Yeah.
And I had a grandfather who was an engineer, but then in retirement, when I knew him best, he was older and retired, right? But he used to build everything at this cottage on a lake where we used to go visit him every summer, and everything is built by him. Cabinets. He used blueberry bush vines to make handles. So he was like this, what I'm realizing in retrospect was he was this blend of, and then he became a jewelry maker and
Wow.
glass maker in retirement just for hobbies.
Yeah.
Right? So the funny thing is I was always creative in drawing, and I used to want to be like a bathing suit designer and like dress designer.
Yeah.
All kinds of weird things that I think back on. Like I used to have like
Right.
pages and pages of drawings of bathing suits.
Yeah. Wait, so what did you make in woodshop?
So in that woodshop class, we were making, actually, I think I have it. Okay, I have to show you because it's right
Okay,
here.
yeah.
So we actually made this. I save it in my workshop because, where is it? So do you
That's
see this?
awesome.
Oh, nice.
How cute is that, right?
Adorable.
And
So
I don't know where he,
I vividly remember what I made.
you do,
And
what
it was one of those so you had like a long like stick, like a walking stick, and it was a duck, and you put like a piece of rubber or leather, like, so you cut a slit in the wheels, and you put like the rubber that was like the duck's like flippers or like feet, and you'd roll it along, and it would. Yeah.
Oh, fun. That's a good project.
It was so fun. And I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. And that's like I think the one thing that I remember from woodshop. And then I also did pottery. I loved pottery. And I actually I graduated. I tested out of high school basically through another program because I wasn't going to graduate. That's a whole other thing.
That's a whole other show.
But I was leaving early my senior year, and I kind of wanted to stay because I didn't want to leave my pottery class. And you had to take like 5 or 6 classes, like minimum, even your senior year. And I was like, nah, I'm out.
I took pottery because of the movie Ghost. And then I feel cheated out of my woodworking class because all I made was a speaker box and some pipes.
But that's a difficult thing to do, actually. Making boxes is often harder than what I do on a scroll saw.
Yeah, but yours looks fancier.
Right? It's an elephant, right?
Yeah, it's an elephant. Oh yeah, sorry. So it's an elephant.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
So this was the first time I used a scroll saw, I believe. And then
so how old were you when you made that?
This was 1990. I was in 7th grade.
Nice.
So I think 12. And then he had a project where we could make our own thing. And we grew up overseas when I was a kid, and my mom had all this really cool jewelry from all over the world. And I decided, I don't know how I got the idea, but I wanted to make a wall mounted jewelry display.
Well, look at that.
Isn't that weird? Yeah. I mean, it's sort of ridiculous, honestly, because it was a really ugly piece, but my teacher was kind enough to help me learn some like basic joinery to make it look nicer, a second version.
Yeah.
And he used that one for like 20 years.
That's awesome.
So I grew up, like I was 12 years. I mean, it was like I was in my 30s when she finally replaced it with another one of my designs. It was there for that long.
That's awesome.
Wow.
So 7th grade, I fell in love with the woodshop class, but then we never had it again. And then you know how life is. You go to high school and you start doing different things. And I was a gymnast. I tore my ACL the first time. Was when I was 15.
Yeah.
So like swimming and school and then I started out in the working world, and I think I don't even know how it started again, but somehow I was feeling really lost.
Yeah.
Like I completely lost my creativity. And
Same.
I just wasn't doing anything. I don't remember if I bought myself a scroll saw and kept it in my...
What boosted you to like do that in the moment? Yeah.
I don't remember, but I started getting back into the woodworking a little bit, and I went to a career counselor, and I was like, look, I don't know who I am anymore. And I can only afford to see you once every 2 months. So it was like $145, but I knew I needed something.
Right.
And I had started like mentoring and doing volunteer work. I had joined the Red Cross. I was just kind of like trying to feel who
find your place,
disconnected from my soul.
Right.
And I really think she was the person who she said, I love this woodworking. When you're talking about it, you light up. Because she was so good at her job. She knew like she would bring out all kinds of conversation and topics. And then she would say like, this is what I'm seeing in your face.
Right.
Her body language. Right. So I feel like she gave me permission.
Yeah.
to pursue it, because
she's a professional in like basically finding your career.
Right.
And if she says do it, I mean, you gotta do it.
Yeah, because it's like I never really imagined I really wanted to be financially independent.
Yeah.
And so I was always focused on like being financially independent. I don't want my parents to have to help me. I want to be working on my own.
Well, and for me growing up, I didn't know anyone who supported themselves on a creative job. It was sure I knew some people who owned their own business or were higher up in someone else's business and were successful, and I knew a lot of people who like maybe had like hobbies, they sold this on the side, sold that on the side, but it was never enough that it like was their sole income. And so I didn't have those like, what do you call them? Like mentors or models, right? To show me like, oh, it is possible, until I got into the laser world. And even the laser, like, I mean, when I did buy the laser, it was to try it and see if it could be my sole income. But when I first got the silhouette, like I didn't know anybody who did the silhouette for full time. It was always people who, moms who made invitations for their kids and maybe their friends, or, made some shirts here and there. Maybe they were super busy doing shirts, but most of the time they also had another job because it wasn't enough to sustain like life. And so it wasn't until the laser world that I saw so many people using only the laser. Well, I mean, we all know if you own any of that, you don't own only the laser most of the time. Yeah. But we're making a business solely on their laser work and maybe a couple other machines. And I was like, I might actually be able to do this. But it took until then because I had no one else that, because how many times do you hear about a struggling artist?
Right.
Like,
well, that's what I say. You're kind of like taught and molded into, finding that good paying job or finding whatever that's already established. And I mean, because it is the easier way to go. Right. Because doing what we're doing, I mean, it's a lot, and it's a lot of ups and downs, peaks and valleys. So it is the harder way to go. Yeah. Because there's no set path. Right. Like you don't take this class, you don't go to this school, and then you get that job. Right. This is like you gotta try different things. You gotta try different mediums.
Your niche.
Find what you like to make. Find what you like. Right.
And it's kind of like comedians. Like you can be funny, but like most comedians don't make it to be big comedians. I feel like the laser world, it's easier to like make it. Well, because you're not trying to make it like big for big money. But
there's a lot of like there's less styles and like the comedy analogy, but yes, you have to find like your voice. Yeah. And in this, you have to find your voice is to like what you like making and what takes off for you. And usually whatever you really like to do making, is what's going to take off because it's seamless for you.
Yes. Right. Well, and because you're pouring your heart and your love into it because you actually like making it. I mean, how many times in the my early projects was I like cursing and like super like just hating finishing the project. And those are the ones that I never shared pictures of because I also hated the finished project. I could tear it apart with all of the things that didn't work well. And so and sometimes people don't know what they want to do right away, and that's okay. And the only way a lot of people find it is by doing other things.
Who would say you would love to do podcasts?
Right? I told you you were crazy.
Podcast, right?
Yeah.
Attention all laser owners and crafters. Are you tired of spending hours cutting, painting, and assembling laser products? Look no further than Crazy Laser Dad Laser Ready Blanks.
Their high quality blanks are expertly sourced, tested, and ready to use with your lasers. Say goodbye to the hassle and frustration of time-consuming projects and hello to more time creating and selling.
Plus, with their wide selection of items, you'll surely find the perfect blank for all your customers.
So, what are you waiting for? Visit crazylaserdad.com today and take your laser crafting to the next level with their laser-ready blanks.
Speaking of all things laser, check out Houston Acrylic at houstonacrylic.com for reliable laser tested and laser approved materials.
Made for makers by makers, Houston Acrylic features over 450 styles of acrylic sheets. With over 50 new arrivals being released this month, Houston Acrylic is committed to bringing new and innovative styles to the laser community. My personal favorite is the matte, anything matte, and I feel it's perfect for everything.
Don't forget to save 10% by using our exclusive coupon code TRBP10 at checkout. Get inspired today and visit HoustonAcrylic.com.
So when you started, now your niche is kind of like jewelry display, right?
Yeah.
And is that what you started doing?
Yeah, so I picked it up again, and I was doing like word of mouth just for, random people. And I think it wasn't until maybe 2008 I finally opened an Etsy shop. And I didn't have anything in it for like a year, but I just was I gotta do this.
Like me, did all your friends tell you to open one for forever before you opened it?
I don't even really remember. I kind of kept it sort of
low
key. Yeah, I don't know. Always on the side, honestly.
Right.
So it wasn't until I got pregnant with my first, and I was commuting 2 hours door to door.
That'll do it.
And my mom was like, I'll never be your daycare. She's like, I can't have a regular. I'll help you whenever. She's very helpful. I don't want to give the wrong impression. But
no, I understand, because I'm not going to be the daycare either.
Yeah, I had to drop a baby at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and then
not
them till 6 or something. It was crazy. Right. So what we did was we tested out one income. I'd always kind of wanted to be home. My mother was at home. I hoped I could do that. We kind of wanted, but then when it came down to it, I liked working. So it was a little bit of a bigger decision at the end.
Right.
But then what happened was we decided we could do it. And we moved out of the city, and we got a house that had a workshop area, like a basement. This is the house. We finally got a house, and I kept doing it on the side of kids, during that time. And then one summer I got like 25 orders for this tree design, which is one of the original things. And I was like, I need help. Right. So I got like 2 hours of daycare at this home, down the road.
Right.
And then, and as you know, it's a shit show trying to, it was a shit show when I was working full time and dragging jewelry displays to and from a train.
Right.
One time I did polyurethane in my apartment, and
oh God,
I was like so ill. Yeah.
Oh.
So it just kind of was like a shit show. It was never like I really got to get into who I was when I was doing it. It was just I did love to do it, but it wasn't growing it, And then fast forward 2018, here I've been going along. I had pretty good business, but it had to stay small because I was still a stay-at-home parent.
Yeah.
I have 2 kids,
Yep.
So in 2018, the little one went to kindergarten, and I said to my husband, I'm like, because we said I'd probably go back to work eventually, right?
Right.
And it was always supposed to be a temporary move. And then 2018, I was like, let's give this a shot. I opened up my first Instagram account just so I could share my work.
Yeah.
And I didn't tell any of my friends. I actually just wanted it to be a legitimate, not subjective, like people who love me and care about me, supporting me. I needed to see if I could find
and also people. That can kind of be a disappointment sometimes, because I honestly feel like that's a better way. Sure, if your friends and family, maybe they know that this has always been a passion of yours, and then you share it, or maybe you share it once it's like really doing well or something like that. But I see a lot of people post in the groups about how their friends aren't ordering, or their friends never interact with their posts, or their family always wants the discount and always wants those kind of things, and they're also the ones that kind of nitpick, or the ones that order last minute and that kind of stuff. And they always they'll get hurt by not getting the support they expect in their mind from their friends and family. And I mean, we've all seen those reels of a customer will turn into a friend quicker than a friend or family member will turn into a customer that you like. So I feel like that's actually like a better way to do it, at least in the beginning. We didn't tell any of our friends and family. I mean, also because it was kind of like a laser podcast, but we didn't tell any of them for a while because I was so self-conscious in the beginning, and add on top of the fact that they're going to have no idea what the heck I'm talking about most of the time. So yeah,
also you're making the point. They're not always your customer.
Right.
I mean, I make jewelry displays. It's the most bizarre thing in a way. You're like, when people ask me what I do, I'm like, I know it sounds weird, but I love jewelry, and I actually have this like fantasy of turning my designs into jewelry pieces later.
Yeah, totally. Well, I mean, your jewelry displays, I was telling him when I was describing who was going to be on the podcast, your jewelry displays are art. It's almost like they're art first, but then they also have a functional purpose, which is like, I feel like the best of both worlds, because sure, art is amazing and it can be admired, but sometimes it can only just be admired. You don't typically use a painting for another purpose. There's paintings that do have other purposes, but typically they don't. So I feel like the art pieces that can also have like a use is, because it's like you get to put your jewelry up, but then you also get to add some nice decor to your room or bedroom or closet or whatever, instead of just like a plain clear acrylic holder, which those have their purpose as well, but they're not exactly art. And
so it is like thank you, it is like a weird thing, and I don't know how to just explain why I still do it, but I don't want to, I still love it. So I think it has to do with the fact that it's like drawing, because I love to draw still, and then I love taking like bits and pieces, and like creating shapes and moving them around. I'm very like hands-on kind of person. And I think it's the structural piece of it that I love so much, like building it and creating layers, and so by making it useful for hanging jewelry, you're adding the slots, which adds kind of an interesting dimension. I don't know. Can't help it. I don't know why. I'm not done with it yet. Like I know someday maybe I will stray into doing
something else, maybe.
But I love it so much that I just don't stop. And
I
made other things like a sword holder. And
that's so cool.
A body belt holder. Like
funny. Your
little
brother actually asked me for a sword holder that I never made. Maybe I'll have her make it for him.
I have 2 designs.
Nice.
But then we get to the point where I was realizing, so what happened with the Instagram was that it took off for me. It was amazing. And I'm busy all the time. And now I keep reminding people that they're like, oh, you're so successful. Like everything sells out. Yes, but also I only can make almost maybe 100 a year.
Right.
And there's only 52 weeks in a year. And some of my customs take a week to like a month. I mean, I had some things take even longer. You get the inspiration, and you have to sit on it, and the ideas are always brewing, whatever. So I have a long wait list, which now I'm scared because I go through these like ups and downs with it. Sometimes I'm at peace. It's okay. I don't collect money for a reason. I let everyone know it could take 1+ year to wait, and I reach out right before we do it and say, you still want it? You still like the price? Like, have you changed your mind? And it's totally fine, because I have to have the flexibility of also being present for my family still.
Right.
Because I get from like 9 to 2 o'clock. That is the time when I actually can concentrate. And, as a parent, both of you, it's so hard to constantly start, stop, start.
Yes.
So it was so chaotic
for me.
So when 2018 came and I started doing this like full time 9 to 2 before they got the bus, I was a pig in shit. I mean, thank you for letting us curse on this, because
of course
I just don't want to describe it.
It's okay if you don't like cursing, but like cursing, like
there's some points where it makes the point. I was a pig
in
shit. I was so happy, and it's like I think originally it was self-preservation and identity as a mother who's also Mollica, not just a mommy.
Right.
and not just doing all the, the crap work that you have to do
Right.
it, but the crap work. I mean, the laundry's here, the playroom's over there. I mean, we strategically placed it,
Right.
my workshop, where it was going to be sensible, like as they were, when they were little.
Mm-hmm.
But then it was like, I can't stop. I was possessed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And obsessed.
Yeah.
And so now I'm realizing that it's time to do like one more step. So like last year, with such a long order list, I was becoming a custom order fulfiller.
Machine.
And
Yeah.
as much as some of them bring me, I think of them as prompts, because they usually do let me kind of take it and do something.
Right.
And they can be so amazing, and it allows me to be creative. But it does take a lot more, as you know, like when you're doing it for someone else, it's worry and bandwidth about, are they going to like it?
Yeah. The overthinking of, is this what they were thinking? Are they really giving me 100% creative freedom? Because there are those customers who think that they want you to just run with it, and that they think that they trust your vision and your work, but they also have a vision in their head too. But if they don't know how to communicate that, or they don't, then it's trying to meet the two without, and it's a lot of guessing. Like, okay, does this meet the vision you had in your head? Are you really okay with like creative freedom? Like, I have a friend who, when she gives me creative freedom, she legit means it. And every time I send her something and I show her what I came up with, she loves it. Whether she actually loves it or she just doesn't have the heart to tell me that it didn't like fit what she wanted, but she always seems to love it. Then you have the other customers or, friends, and you send them and they give you full creative freedom, and they're like, let's tweak this, and this. And then it's like, okay, well then now it's no longer what I had in mind. And now I'm trying to fit what you have in mind. Mm-hmm. And, where's she go?
She gone.
Okay.
Oh, he's back.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's back and forth. So then it's more time. And then when you have like in my case, where everything it takes so much longer. And then I have this wait list of people. If my customer isn't getting back to me for a couple of days, I have to switch gears to another order, because I can't, and then it's like, so anyway, it's way more time consuming, right?
Yes.
I don't make money off customs. Like, there's no doubt in my mind I don't. I know I keep being told, you have to charge more, but I don't really want to that's a whole different ballgame.
It's a whole thing. It's tough.
So what happened last year, or maybe it was a year and a half ago, I decided that I was going to make a commitment to myself, which was that every month I had a small collection, whether it was like 3, like my last one, because I didn't have any time.
Well, you got to do what 10. You want.
Yeah. And it was like just whatever was
amazing
inspiration at the moment. It was really important, because those moments where I take that time also means my next custom is going to be better.
Right.
Totally. Yes. So like those are the 3 ideas, and you experiment and you do some weird thing, and it turns out it's really cool.
Right.
And you want to use it in the next piece that was like 5 down the line, but now you have an idea what you want to do. For that. It's very much like a
every time I see people they talk about burnout, and they're like, I don't know what to do, or I have to make all these things because these are selling, so I have 100 of these to do, but I really actually enjoy making these other things. And I remember when I was like really heavy in the physical products, I would get so burned out on, again, the customs of what they wanted, and me trying to make it into something that I enjoyed and that I was proud of sharing once it was finished. Even if it kind of made things like a little late or made the timeline a little bit like too much, if I felt the burnout coming, I would make something that I wanted to make that's been in my head for 2-3 months. I would get it out of my system. I'd make that thing. It would give me that boost that I like needed to keep going, making the things that weren't necessarily 100% what I wanted to make. That's when I realized early on that like I'm not that company or that business type or brain type where, getting an order of 500 of the same ornaments, sure, the price tag looks amazing, but I'm also going to be like, oh my God, 100 more, 100 more, 100 more. And then it'll be great once I get paid. But and often what actually was happening was I get paid up front. And then now I had this pressure that they've already given me the money.
Yes.
Now I have to fulfill it because I already have the money. I may have potentially already spent it on maybe something else or the materials or bought something I've been wanting to buy. And now technically the money isn't even like there anymore. So I can't like, I don't have the option to like give it back. And now I have to make 500 of something. And I'm like, oh, it's like brutal until you finish and you ship it off and you hope that it makes it there in one piece. And yeah, I realized early on I was not the like factory type. I needed to, and here and there, sure. Like I would if I got like a huge tumbler order, great. I like tumblers right now, right now, because it always changes, I swear.
Right.
But it'd be great to have like one or two of those here and there. And then I can make whatever the heck I want the other times. Yeah.
That's what saved me because, and this isn't our breadwinner. This is always, I opened up a separate account and said, as long as I'm always breaking even, this is my sanity check to be home with my kids. And then, over the last few years, I'm like really coming into the black finally. I'm not making a ton of money. I could never support myself on this. I'm not there. But I do believe someday I will. I feel that wherever this is going, I'm going to get there where it will really be a contribution.
I know you struggle with this, but if you have a year waiting list, your prices are too low. And again, that is fine. If you're your prices potentially really being too low, because again, like you said, so when you go into a business, your business goals could potentially be completely different than the next business's goals down the line. Because like you said, and you've said a few times, what's important to you is not to take too much time away from your family. Your family is first, and you have this window from 9 to 2 to make your things and to have your time, and breaking even makes you happy because, whatever. If charging more gives you more stress and adds more pressure and adds all that other things, then it's not worth it to charge more and to reduce that wait list and whatever. So it really depends on what your goals are. And that also goes into pricing. If your goals are for some people, like mine were in the beginning, to get him home, because I needed help because he was working, in the evenings, and I was drowning taking care of the kids for after school, dinner, and bedtime 5 days a week. I hated it. And so, if your goal was maybe to retire your husband or to get your husband home and you needed it to be something that did replace those funds, then you charge more and you kind of change your path. But if it's fulfilling the purpose for you, that's all that matters.
Well, I think what I'm realizing too is that 1 year wait list, that's 96 people, right?
Right.
I keep not being able to say no to people, but I'm trying to keep it under 100 because they come to me and say, "Oh, my mother died last year, and you came out with this hummingbird and she loves hummingbirds and I can't wait to order one." I'm like, I can't not put you on the list. Like those are the people. I have the most amazing, wonderful customers. And I think that's what the Instagram without friends did for me. I found people who understand what I make and actually like it, right? I needed to find my people.
Yeah, for sure. And that's okay if it's not your friends and family. Because let's think about it. There's probably friends and family that may have their own thing. And I'm like, that's not my style. Not that I don't want to support you. And I try to do it in the free ways, liking, hearting, commenting on their posts and that kind of stuff, and referring people to them if I know someone who's looking for something like that. But just like not everyone's style is my style either. Right. So I can't, it's okay if you're not their thing.
Yes, it's totally okay. And when you find those people that relate, then it's awesome. And sometimes if my stuff doesn't sell for 1 month, I'm like, oh, that one didn't. I'm trying to take the emotion out of, obviously I have a lot of heart in this, but there's this emotion where you're like, it wasn't good enough, or no, it just didn't hit this time. And then you reinvent it. I take old pieces and I cut them up and I use them for parts for the next thing or whatever. I'm trying to just sort of like go with the flow and figure it out. But so that 94 person wait list, for instance, if there's 52 weeks in a year,
Right.
I mean, do the math. It's not because I'm so successful that I have a wait list of a year. It's because I work so
Time.
slowly.
Right.
It's because I am not a manufacturer. I don't have.
Right.
So this is why the laser comes in.
Yeah.
Because what happened to me was like what you were saying.
Mhm.
So my joy is one of a kinds, and
Yes.
it's like a constant prototyping, and it's just
Mhm.
experimenting and fun, and like I make one, and that's all I want to make usually.
Right. Because you got it out of your
Sometimes-
system, at least for
Right.
me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it could be like something inspiring just in the moment, like whatever's happening in the culture somehow, things
Yep.
that you attach to it. It allows me to be free and sort of like express how I'm feeling at the time. Right.
Right.
And what happened was, though, for instance, the tree one that I did long ago got so popular that I had so many to make.
Mhm.
And I'm so sick of making them.
Yeah.
And
You don't
I
like
just,
the design anymore. You're like, I loved this, but now that I've made it 600 times, I hate it.
yeah. So in my case, it could be even just 25 times
Right,
is a
right.
lot. Too
Yeah,
much on a
no,
scroll
for
file?
sure. Yeah. Well, and
Uh-uh.
so I make some I've made some, I can't say make because it's not current. I've made some pretty intricate milestone photo props for babies. And it's a very, very niche thing because it's, they take a lot of time. They're very intricate and they're expensive. When everything is expensive for a baby already, you're like, oh, pay me 100, 200 plus for this thing that you're hopefully going to remember to take pictures of, because I did it up to 10 months for my 2-year-old and there's no 11th month or 12-month picture. I made it
Right.
and that's as far as I made it. But I made one that was like sushi because his friend loved the Japanese culture and she loved all the like sushi themed stuff, and so I made her a sushi themed one. Well, I mean, some of them they were all 2 layers, and some of them were 3, 4 different colors of acrylic. I made a crawfish boil one because she saw the sushi and the pizza one that I made for my son. And I was like, look, it's going to be expensive. It's going to take me forever. It's probably going to be delivered like right before you deliver. And I think I actually sent it like, I think it was probably at her house by the time she got home from the hospital. Like that's how close I cut it. But like I literally tried to talk her out of getting it because she was a laser owner too. And I'm like, I can make the file for you and you cut it. And she's like, I'll never get around to cutting it. And I'm like, I get it. The same way. But it like I don't want to make another crawfish boil one. I don't necessarily want to make another sushi one or a pizza one because they're a lot of work, and I designed it. I got it out of my system. It's pretty. I don't want to make 25 more of those.
And you can sell the design file.
Yeah, I sell the design and I'd love to refer them to someone who would love to make them 25 acrylic pizzas for their monthly photos. But once I usually have like an idea in my head and I make it and I get it out of my system, because I always have to make tweaks. I always have to change it. I always have 16, like the crawfish, I changed him like 6 times because he wasn't like, there's parts that were too thin, parts that were too thick, making it look, the dimensions correct. And, by the time I was finished with it, like I had perfected it enough to sell the file, but I don't want to make any more because now I'm like, oh, okay, now I'm done.
Right. So you put in all that upfront effort and then you want to, and so that's what happened to me too. So I reached out to this guy who I was on Instagram. We've been following each other since I had started it. I think he joined in 2018 too. And then we started, I saw something where he was cutting something with a laser and I was like, what is that laser?
Right. What's that?
And it turned out he had some like massively expensive one that takes 4x8 sheets of plywood.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it costs like an astronomical amount of money. But so he's like, let's do a talk and I can tell you all about the laser. And in that conversation, we really got along. And he's like, I could do this for you. And I was like, what? Really?
Yeah.
First of all, he said he could convert my photos of my designs because I don't have anything. There are no files. Okay.
That's so cool.
Like,
I know when you said convert, I was like, well, if it's already a digital, you can just.
It's not a digital.
Right.
So like this is my template wall. It doesn't have like that much on it, but this is my template wall.
Oh, wow.
They are actually hard copy templates.
Yeah.
So there's actually a place for that too for scroll saws, because then you can just take the piece and place it.
Right.
You don't have to print it out and glue it on and all that.
Right.
Annoying part of the process.
For sure.
So he was like, yeah, I can do that for you. And I was floored.
Yeah.
And so we started a relationship where so my tree got really popular. So he cut it. Originally, he was able to cut 1/2-inch birch, which is like it has to be 1/2-inch birch because it's thicker.
Yeah.
And because of the building, I have to embed dowels into the face.
Right. So you need room for that. Yep.
And then over time, it turns out he was having to do multiple passes for 1/2-inch. And so we switched to 1/4-inch, which meant I needed to design for double layers kind of.
Right. Yeah.
Which you were talking about. So I think that's going to be a new mindset for me.
Yeah, a lot of scroll artists that switch over to the laser, they end up mostly using 1/4-inch MDF instead of the hardwoods. Now, some of them do use the hardwoods and actually use their laser to create the template for them. So they'll take like their 1/2-inch or inch gorgeous piece of hardwood, and then they'll score, which the you're not cutting, you're kind of like, a score is basically like a laser mark that doesn't go all the way through. And so you'll score your design on there, and then that gives you your template to take over to the scroll saw, and then you go around that. Yeah. So like, instead of your like physical template or the people who, glue the paper on there and go cut around that, you'd make basically the laser makes a line where you need to cut, and then that's your guide of the scroll saw. Yeah. And then with the 1/4-inch MDF, they'll layer that to get the dimension they need. So like if a lot of them do those like flower nursery signs, right? And some parts of the flower will be like 2, 3, 4 layers, and they'll glue those all together.
Right.
Or, and the lower parts will be 1 or 2, and that's how they play with their dimension. They'll cut the same template out 2, 3, 4 times, and then mess with the layers, and even sometimes use 1/8-inch MDF if they don't want quite a 1/4-inch, because that's, too much spacing. But yeah, that's how a lot of them get that dimension, because with most lasers, like my Mira 9, if I wanted to
That's
cut,
what I'm getting, by the way, is the Mira 9.
Yes. Nice. And so come to me with any questions or anything, and I'll help where I can. But like, it can cut like a 1/2-inch, but if you're doing that all the time, you're going to kind of need to do some like upgrades, like maybe get a compressor, maybe get like a different lens, like that kind of stuff. And then
I got the lens I think that I need. And then, because I was like, this has to cut 1/2-inch birch. I was like really going back and forth with the customer service agent.
Like, does it?
I want this in writing.
Right. Right.
Before I spend all this money, I basically spent all my profits on this machine.
Well, I mean, speaking of that, I just ran into an issue with a very expensive sticker printer that I got. It was $3,000, and it works, but it doesn't do all of the things that they promised well. It kind of can do it. Like, they claim that it can print stickers into a 12-inch batch, right? It's only 4 1/4 wide. And they say that you can print up to 12 inches of stickers, right? And you're like, oh, great. I can make like my files, 12 inches long, and I can get it all out in one print. Well, the problem is, as soon as you got over about 4 inches, the cut lines did not match where you put them. And they wouldn't be off a ton, but on small stickers, even like 0.008 of an inch, I'm going to notice that that's not where it's supposed to be. And so it was like, can you really, like, not quality that I'm going to sell for, And now, so it turned this $3,000 printer, which initially, when I saw all the things that it could promise, I was like, oh, I can actually sell stickers too. And it can help me pay for the money that I paid, upfront to buy the machine. Yeah. And I feel like it's still paid for itself in the product stickers that it prints for me, because I put 3 different stickers on every
Right.
single package, and I'm not having to outsource that, and I can print that for myself.
Ooh.
And I've done some like larger like for whenever we go to a laser conference or my friends go, I like just recently printed 200 stickers. It was supposed to be 300, but then my printer broke.
So is it
for
sheets?
Heather. No, so it's
it
on a roll.
Oh, it's on a roll. Okay.
4 1/4 wide by I don't know however many long. And
Cool.
so that's where it's like it's hard because I would never purchase this machine again for $3,000 because all it does is print my product
Right.
stickers. I don't feel
Packaging.
I don't like the quality enough to feel comfortable selling them to people. And so when I was thinking, we actually fixed it for now, but if I'm replacing it, I'm probably just going to get a $400 silhouette. And yeah, it's going to be a couple more steps and it might take me a little bit longer, but it only cost me $400. I'm not going to spend $3,000 for, it to not live up to what they say. So it's very important. And that's smart of you to like get them to like reiterate, can it do what I want? Because I can't tell you how many times someone will post in the group and they'll talk, they'll in like that mom with the laser and they'll say, oh, I just, put my 50% down on a Mira 9, which is like, I don't know, $5,000 or something at this point. And they're like, what laser or what metal can I cut through? And we're like, no, honey, you can't cut that's zero. You can't cut metal on this machine because it's not in its capabilities. And people will, I hate you. He knows I hate that word. But that it's important to know the capabilities of the machine and if they can meet that for you, because otherwise now you've spent a lot of money on something that isn't going to do what you want it to do or do it well, you know?
So I need that compressor and I got the lens. There's something else too. There's like a bunch of things you have to do to
yeah, you kind of have to give some upgrades. Like if I wanted to, I probably could do it. It might be a little bit more charred if that was an issue. I might need to do like 2 passes. If you're doing it all the time, you're going to wear out your tube a little bit quicker. Again, maybe I'm not sure if adding those upgrades makes it so that it's less wear and tear on your tube. But just things like that, like, sure, it can do it, but is it necessarily the best machine, straight from the factory to do what you need it to do? So that's all important things when looking for a new machine. And then if you can, also talking to customers, like, have you done this? Does it do,
There's a guy who I found him anyway, but they also at Aeon sent it to me. This guy cutting out swords for his kids.
Oh, nice.
Birch.
And
I was like, oh, this is perfect. Because I mean, you can't see it now, but in my garage, I have like a pile of 12 different kinds of like weapons that the kids make.
That's awesome. Do you have 2 boys?
I have 2 boys, 13 and 10. And the 13-year-old has my old DeWalt scroll saw access in the, so the garage. The garage is like my big equipment, like table saw and chop saw and stuff like that. And there's my old scroll saw is there.
Yeah.
And so the kids are allowed to use that one. And
that's awesome.
So that's like the kids section plus the big machinery. That's
right.
in the old area.
I'll have to get them, like, if I want them to do something, get the like one that they can, the Thunderbolt that like you can touch this. You can't touch this one, but you can touch this one. Or because our youngest is only 2, so he doesn't have any interest except that the garage is taboo. So anytime he can come in here, it's like, ooh.
And then it's playing with all the studio equipment.
Right. With all your stuff.
No studio equipment.
But also, I don't know if JR just picked this up on his own, but he's always wanted like the camera and that kind of stuff because, he sees daddy doing it. And so then, he wants one for himself. Like, I'll look at his tablet. It's just like an Amazon Fire tablet. Full of pictures and
some
like
videos.
Some are
pretty good.
They're good. I gotta tell you, they have a mind for it because my son he filmed me one time. He's like, you got to start a YouTube.
Yes.
I'm like, maybe I will someday, but I'm not ready yet. But he's like, I want to be your camera guy. I'll do all the filming.
Oh my God. I would love that.
It was so cute. And he was telling me, don't don't end your sentence on an up. It doesn't sound like you're confident or something. I forget what he was telling me. It was
Oh my God,
Nice.
how cute.
because I
How
was
old is he?
demonstrating how to make a circle jig one day, and
The
we
oldest
never
one
got
or
that.
the younger one?
This is the older one.
Mm,
But
13.
he
He's like,
says he's going to be my tech guy,
yeah.
and so he's going to help me learn the machine when it gets here.
Listen, he'll
Nice.
probably be better at it than you.
Absolutely.
Because these kids are ridiculous. We went on Netflix like a couple months ago, and he made his own.
Our 6-year-old
profile.
named his
6-year-old.
Yes, he made his own. I go on there and I'm like, who's this new account?
Yeah.
And I'm like, it says it's his name, John, which is my name too. So it's John, but it's a kid's YouTube, and then the icon picture is the Boss Baby.
Yeah, which is his favorite movie.
Because he was into it at the time. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, I didn't make that account.
Right.
You didn't make that account.
No.
There's still the kid's account.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, this mother, he created his own account.
Right.
Yeah, they're sneaky.
It's kind of scary because it's like,
I'm like, I'm glad
we
it's
don't
a kid's
have
account.
right, but we don't have like just we didn't have like a lot of technology until like high school ish for me.
We grew up as the technology grew up.
But now it's surpassing our brains.
Yeah. Look at me. I'm 45. You guys are
40-ish.
Oh, we're not
39.
that far off. But
yeah.
I didn't have a cell phone till post college. I mean,
it was high school for me, I think, and it was late high school.
I got mine at the end of high school.
Yeah, mine was like junior year, I think.
We're way behind. I mean, we had computers at the school, and maybe had a computer in college.
They played Oregon Trail.
True floppy disk.
Yeah, Oregon Trail.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So, but I mean, listen, and I think too, like I think that would be an amazing YouTube channel, because even if the quality isn't like amazing with the video and the angles and stuff, if people know that it's your 13-year-old son who's like doing that, like there'd be so much like it kind of makes like a cool factor to it, because one, it gets him to be able to be creative and kind of be a part of your business and a part of what you're doing. And then, it gets you out there, on YouTube as well. So
that's like part of the whole thing. Like the heart of this was always, even as a kid, I never thought I could have a business where it was my art and like the things I was making. And it started out custom work always. And now it's my stuff. My brain gets to be, it's self-expression.
Yeah.
But it also was like teaching resourcefulness. When the kids wanted a weapon for Halloween, they can make it. They can draw. I make them draw it. What's that?
He made one out of paper. He rolled up a piece of paper, like so that it's like thicker, and then had another piece that he wanted to be like, what is the shaft, or what is the little like guard thing?
Yeah, the little guard. It's a guard.
Yeah. So he was like, can you cut this? I need scissors so that I can put this through there. And like I folded it and whatever. And he was like, he was watching me, because I folded it in half to cut the first one and then folded it the other way. And he was like stopping me because he didn't understand my process.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, wait, I'm going to show you, so I kind of did the star so that he can put it through. And he was like, oh, but he already had the idea. He just didn't know how to execute it. And so like we kind of, collaborated on a paper sword.
Yes.
But they're so resourceful early on.
I've had the opposite, where he had the vision and I couldn't. I'm kind of like spatially challenged. I've never math has always been something I had to work at.
Same.
So even in carpentry and stuff, I have to really like making boxes. I was telling earlier, like knowing how you're building the box, so you take into account the width of one side.
Especially in the tabs and like laser boxes. No,
I'm sure folding thing. Right.
No, I don't like it.
He came up with something, and he's like, no, I want it to slide. Do you know Mark Rober?
No.
Mark Rober is the engineer, the ex-NASA engineer, and he has this creative channel, and he was doing this Mark Rober logo that he wanted to use, and then he was going to pull out this information tab from inside, this, like a light bulb kind of looking thing.
Right.
And he knew how to create all the layers, and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, and then because of him, he figured it out, because I have the experience, but I didn't necessarily have the idea.
Right. How to
facial ability.
Right. Yeah.
But so kids are just amazing, and I'm hoping he really does get into it, because
Yeah.
how fun would it be to have a business for my kids?
Well, and that's something I want to teach my kids as well, because, you know, I struggled in school from fourth grade. I hated school.
Yeah,
I wasn't like everyone else. And I didn't, you know, people loved going to school. They loved having their friends. And I loved that too. But like, I was never like a loner and didn't have friends, but I was never popular either. I was kind of like in the middle. And so I didn't, you know, I wasn't popular and loved going to school to go see all my friends. And I wasn't like a loner and I hated it because I didn't have any, but like things were harder for me. I got distracted a lot easier. I was a perfectionist in fourth grade. I would not turn in homework because I didn't finish it, rather than getting the credit for what I did finish or what I did know. And I didn't understand that until like college almost. And so I almost didn't graduate. And so I almost had to get like a GED, but I found like my mom found another program where I was actually able to test out and, you know, go and actually get my high school diploma. And then I just went into, you know, when I was 15, I was still in school. I went to work at King Soopers. It was a grocery store. And I did that because that's where my sister was working. And so it just kind of like made sense. It made sense as like a part-time job. And since I had started there so young, by the time I was 18, they had been asking me to be a manager sometime when I was like 17, but I had to legally wait until I was 18 to become a manager. And so I quickly, you know, moved up in the rank, and I was a manager at 18. I was making really good money for an 18-year-old. And then I was kind of stuck, because now it's like, oh, well, now I'm going to have to work in a grocery store for the rest of my life, because I didn't know what I wanted to be. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I love that this job, you know, kind of will hopefully show our kids you don't. And I did end up going to college because the job that I got after the grocery store paid for it. That's the only reason I went to college. My managers then were like kind of pressuring me like, hey, you get this free college, like go for it, take advantage of it, whatever. And I'm glad I did. You know, especially because my friends, they'd either dropped out, or if they were still going, they were struggling to pay for it. And I'm like, here I have this like almost free ride, and I'm not taking advantage of it.
Right.
But I want them to know they don't have to go to college if they don't want to, because the only thing my 11-year college degree taught me is that I hate finance. That's all it taught me. Like the whole time I was going for my finance degree, I wanted to stop and start over and go for graphic design, but I didn't want to sign up for 4 to 6 more years of school. Because again, I still hated school as much as I had a better way of managing it. And so I want them to know, like, you don't, like, yes, you need to go to school. Yes, you need to graduate high school. I'm also okay with them testing out if that's what makes the most sense. Like, because that's not necessarily what matters. Happiness is what matters. Doing what you want to do while also being able to pay your bills. That's what matters.
That's what they want to do, is become a doctor. Then you need to go to school.
Right. But, and again, it's what, you know, JR, he wants to be, you know, a policeman, or he's changed it a few times, but whatever he wants to do, sure. Like that, I think you might need some schooling. I'm not quite sure.
The academy.
Right. But like, then if you know or have an idea of what you want to do, like if a college degree is part of it, then yes, that needs to be part of your goals. But he loves playing video games, and I don't want to necessarily like, what do you call it, dampen that dream either, because you could go to create them or be a paid tester, or if video games is what you love, find a way to make it a business.
My son has learned on his own Unreal Engine, and is learning how to make video games. And I'm just like so impressed. I understand. But you know, it's important. I always remind them, like, just don't be a one-trick pony.
Right.
And keep exploring and like follow your curiosities. And everyone has a different idea of what success is.
Right.
Like you're saying.
And all that matters is if
not
it means
always the most money. Right.
Yes. Because success is, for us, is paying our bills and having more time with the boys. It's not, I want to make 6 figures. I want to make 7 figures. I want,
and
like,
it changes over time. When
and
you're 24,
and
you're 24.
Right.
Yeah. When you're 24, you're what you think success is a lot different than now than when we're 40.
Right.
You know what I mean? I had a new car and 2 motorcycles.
Right. Yeah. You have a 2000 what? Truck?
Now I have a used truck. Yeah, I have an 09 truck.
Yeah.
But I have these fancy ass cameras.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right.
And that's what brings you joy. And
Yeah,
that's what
yeah,
matters when it comes down to it.
I am so happy they're still running.
Right?
And they haven't stopped
Your
yet.
mom's sign language.
Yeah, because she has to go to the eye doctor.
Right.
Yeah. So
Take your
take your
time.
time. We're gonna be late, but take your time. Yeah. I can't wait to have you back on in a few months after you have your
Yes, we definitely need
laser
to
and your
sometime. I don't
I'm
know,
gonna need
like
a lot of help.
March,
Yeah.
April, May. I want to do
And then
like an
just a
updated.
check in to see how you're doing with your laser, how it's
Yeah.
going, how your YouTube channel is growing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if you need
not yet,
a channel,
Yeah,
We-
yes.
we know a
if you need
guy
help, or
who-
if your son really wants to take a deep dive in and has some
That would be so
questions
cool
about
if you-
cameras or
yeah.
whatever, feel free to reach out because I can help him
Yeah.
on that end.
So fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, let's tease. I feel like I could talk to you forever. I'm kind of sad we
Right.
have an appointment to go to because this would have been one of those like
really fun.
longer episodes.
Right.
Yeah.
What is the code that's for everybody? Do you remember what that is?
The code for everybody, not your subscribers.
Yes,
Right.
that one we're gonna tease that it's bigger and
I
better.
did get my initial, so LMW RB
RB, okay,
15.
15.
Yeah, 15. All
One
right.
more time.
LMW for Lauren Woodworking. LMW
RB.
RB Riley Black 15.
Got it. Okay.
Perfect. And that's for
Mm.
general admission. Now,
Yeah, that's for
if
everyone.
you want the VIP, like if you needed more reason to sign up for
Right.
Patreon, when you get early access, you get shout
Right.
outs, and you get discount codes.
The bigger discount codes.
I mean,
I always
listen.
ask for 2,
Right.
so that I
you
can
get-
give a
you get
little bit
more-
sweeter
right.
to.
So the subscription will pay itself off. Like I said last time, it's girl math. It's free.
Girl math.
It's free.
Right.
Just on discounts alone.
Mhm.
The subscription is free. It pays for itself.
Right.
It's a no-brainer.
For real.
Riley Black. I almost say Riley
You
Black
are
Media.
Riley Black Media.
I've been
You're
pushing
plugging
Riley.
the wrong one.
Right. I've been plugging my media so much. Riley Black Project on Patreon. Just search for it.
Yeah.
It's easy.
The Riley Black.
The Riley Black
Yes.
Project. That's right. Well, thank you for your
Wait,
time. What?
Where
No?
can people find her?
Where can people find you?
Oh, yeah. So my Instagram is Lauren Mollica Woodworking.
How do you
And-
spell Mollica?
Mollica.
Okay.
M as in Mary. Ollica.
Okay.
And from there you can access my website and
Mm.
my links to my Etsy shop. But what's nice is, and other people should know this too, for Etsy sellers, if you go through my Instagram,
Mm.
I get a discount on the fees.
Oh, right. Yeah, because they just
Mm.
added that to
Yeah.
Etsy. We'll have to talk about it on a future episode. But quickly, if you get lowered fees if you bring the traffic
Via
yourself.
Instagram?
Right.
Okay.
So if they just go to Etsy and they're like searching for fancy jewelry display and they find her, she'll pay the regular fees. But if they order through her link on her Instagram for her Etsy page, she pays a little bit less
Oh.
in the fees.
Because
Yeah.
you're directing from your social media
Right.
to
Right.
Etsy. So,
And so the codes, they both expire December 31st. And that's to give her some extra time to
Mhm.
get some more of those laser files because they have to be converted because she just,
Just start.
hand draws everything. So now, yeah, gives them some time to come up. But there is one up there already, you said, right?
yeah, there's one for the hummingbird display, and then I'm working on adding like an art
And
deck
that's-
style one. So
Right. So that's, real quick, because we knew we gotta go, but finding ways to do the passive income, like selling files, is a great way to continue to do what you want to do, but to make that additional money that doesn't necessarily always, like sometimes it is extra steps because you do have to have, this friend convert it, then you have to list the file and all that stuff. And listing files sucks, let's be real. Or listing items, products at all is not fun. But once you get it up there, there's that passive income.
Right.
And especially if other laser owners are following you. I saw that there were several following you. And one of the laser owners, I'm not sure who, but had suggested you in the first place as a guest to have on. They're watching that. If they love her displays and they're one of the ones that she sells, they can buy the design and make it for themselves or make it for customers or whatever. So it's a great way when you're kind of at capacity.
Right.
Finding a way to sell some files is awesome passive income, and it frees you up for other stuff too. If you're just you know.
Yeah, like, I'm done with this design. I've done so many now. Let's
Mhm.
offer it as a graphic and a template and move on.
Well, and
Yeah.
then eventually, if you find people that you trust their work from your files, it will help you refer people. Like if someone wants that damn tree again, you can be like,
exactly.
I don't make the tree anymore, but I know someone who does.
Exactly.
Maybe reach out to them.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool.
Perfect.
I know we could talk all day. I have like so many.
I know, right? It's so easy.
Well, that's why we're gonna have you back on once you get your laser.
For sure.
And you're up and running.
Yes.
Well, thank you for being on the show. You guys stick around for our life update. And we're back for a quick abbreviated life update.
Right, because we gotta go. We gotta go get my nails done.
And,
you gotta go to an eye appointment.
Well, my mom has the eye appointment.
Right, and you're
hopefully I
tagging
get
along.
some new glasses.
Yeah, because we don't.
So it looks like the 2 cameras did it.
Yeah,
they're still rolling.
Let's fingers crossed. Hopefully it'll.
We'll see how it looks and how everything is. But
I'm
we're
excited.
growing. We got curtains, as you'll
know.
see in the individual. It makes it look pretty good.
It really
I don't know
does
what
make
it's gonna
it
do
look
for the
like
sound.
more official.
Yeah, and in person, not. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know how.
Well, I mean, this camera, if we hadn't have done the here,
you would see the garage door.
See my inventory, and here you'd see the garage door.
Yeah.
So we're excited. But in conclusion, sign up for Patreon. That's really what we're pushing.
That's really what we're pushing.
If you're not ready to make the financial contribution yet, there's a new free option on Patreon, and it gives you a little bit more than just viewing our page without being a free member. All the perks, of course, come with the $4 and up, the paid ones. But check it out, support us, help us continue to do what we love and bring new cool people every week like Lauren.
Yeah, for sure. And with that, it's been another great episode of the Riley Black Project. Crystal and John.
Bye.
Maybe we're all done.